What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, you probably are not familiar, but one of my favorite things to do when we get these really hard missions is to come up with teams that the average player can use to beat this event. And I'm not talking about teams that require, okay, your DPS is like a max limit broken unit, you got to have maxed out assists. You'll see some MLBs on my team, but largely they're MLB out of just convenience. These are units that I've had that have been MLB'd. But what I'm going to be doing here mostly, my DPS is actually going to be Aisha, the rerun Aisha of all things, the one that's actually currently on the discounted banner, and she's only +2. We've got Yuri from the second anniversary, he's +3, and then of course you got Winnie, the new Winnie, who is +2. Now Haruhime is max limit broken, but frankly she should be your first max limit break in this game. She's so necessary. So there's really, they can't avoid that. I've had her max limit broken forever. Line and Goblin Slayer are both max limit broken, but they're going to actually be swapped out here shortly. So it doesn't really matter. Like they could have no bonds in them at all. They're still going to do the same thing they're going to do for our team. Now, as far as assists go, the main thing we've got here is we are debuffing physical because obviously we want our DPS to do the most damage, and we're buffing and debuffing earth damage. That's why most if not all of our units are earth type units. So that is basically the reason for this team. Now the other thing you'll notice here is I'm running Casino Seer. Now obviously we have the 30th anniversary Finn over there on the front side, and that's going to give everybody 33% SA gauge charge. A wiser option here would be to take Seer off and put on like the Fiesta Hestia that would actually reduce incoming damage. A defensive unit here would make a lot more sense, but I'm actually going to do this way, and basically what I'm going to try to do is try to force feed SAs. I'm trying to get quicker, faster, more frequent essays so that we can kind of do our thing a little bit faster. Now, the other thing you need to know about this opponent is that this opponent will, first of all, he'll remove your strength buff, so you need to watch out for that. You'll need to rebuff strength every once in a while. But the other thing that this opponent does is he will poison you. So you need to either use a poison anklet, but frankly for me, I find poison's not that much of a nuisance, so I don't even bother, honestly. I just make sure that I've got a good healer like Haruhime on clutch at all times, so I don't really have to worry about that. And Winnie will actually do some HP regen as well, so we're going to be in solid state just because of all that healing that we've got going on. But let's go ahead and get down to it. Now this is a worm type, so you want to use a worm killer, and that's another reason that Aisha is going to be so good here. Earth types are already down, what, I believe 25%? Let's see. So our Earth unit, Earth attribute resistance. Yeah. Our Earth resistance is actually down 5%. So it was 35%, it's down to 40%. And physical has been dropped to, I believe, 20%. So yeah, physical resistance was 20, it was down 20, it's now down 40. So the Earth units really are the best units here. If you don't have Earth, you can definitely use Water. And the nice part about Water is if you really want to go crazy like I've gone with SA, there's 2 Water units that each get 100% SA gauge charge. So there is that possibility. But let's start this off. We're going to go ahead and do a big debuff with Haruhime. If you have the new Otarl, he's actually way better to debuff with because he does 45% instead of 40%. But because mine's max limit broken, I've thrown him off the team. Okay, we're just going to do our basic buff stack and, of course, the 33% SA gauge charge with Line, and then at the end of turn 1, Line is going to leave. She's basically just not going to be part of this team after turn 1. Now, turn 2, in comes Goblin Slayer, and with Goblin Slayer, we're going to use his skill 1 to reduce physical resistance. Now, the reason we're going to do that, there are other skills we could have used here, but I really need to drop the physical resistance so our units can come in and do even more damage. Our DPS is physical and is earth, so we really need to get that out there. Speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and put Haruhime on skill 3, and Yuri I'm going to put on skill 2. This is going to drop earth resistance and guard rate, and it's going to let her DPS do more damage. Now when it comes to Aisha, I could do skill 2, but it really won't do anything. He's not buffing his strength. In fact, he'll actually eventually remove strength buffs, so we need to keep an eye on that. but I'm going to go ahead and use Geosurge. If you're not familiar with what this is basically an SA. It's a slow, super Earth physical attack, all damage plus 85% per self-strength buff. Now, strength buffs are then removed after this turn, but it is a hard-hitting attack. So we're going to go ahead and use skill 3 for her right out of the gate. And like I said before, skill 1 with Goblin Slayer. Alright, let's see how much she hits for. 417k. Can't be mad about that. Now, since Winnie isn't here, I'm going to go ahead and do skill 3 with Haruhime, or I'm sorry, skill 2 with Haruhime. And then we're going to go jump into skill 3 with Yuri. And then, because that strength buff is removed, I've got to go ahead and do skill 1 all over again with Aisha. So we're going to do skill 1 and rebuff strength. And with Winnie coming in, we're going to do skill 1 on her as well. We're basically going to do a buff stack, but since she's like only AoE, we're going to have to be a little cautious about how we do this. Now, once again, a single target unit here would be a lot better than she is, but because all my single target units are max limit broken, I'm going to try to do this with her instead. If I had thrown Otaro on here, we'd probably be done in the next turn or two, but that's not the point. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and do skill 3 again. Now, we do have an SA, and since I just rebuffed the strength buff, I'm going to go ahead and do an SA with Aisha. So, bam, she's going to be good to go. She gives herself, what does she give herself? She gives herself 70 strength. So the 100% strength would be good, but I think it's kind of a waste of turn. I'd rather get 2 SAs off with Aisha than wasting time buffing with Haruhime. Personal opinion? My opinion, though. There is the possibility. Now, if you have Otaro and you have Winnie, you don't need Haruhime on this one. That's the real fun part. Haruhime is good here, but not necessary. So if you've got the Anniversary Otaro and you've got Winnie, you actually might have a winning team on your hands without a Haruhime unit. But we're going to use her anyways. We're going to use skill 3. And then, of course, we're going to continue skill 3 with Yuri. He's basically just going to spam that for the rest of the turn. SA with Aisha, and I'm going to move Haruhime to skill 2. Now, Haruhime is going to stick on skill 2. I'm sorry, Aisha. Haruhime. Winnie is going to stick on skill 2 for the rest of the fight. Yuri's going to be stuck on skill 3, with the exception of when I have to buff his strength. Now, we do need to keep an eye on that because we are going to have to rebuff strength. And I believe, I think it's removed on SA, but I'm going to have to double check here. Let's see what happens. Bam. Some really great hits. Really great hits coming out of Aisha. And the nice part is Aisha will also debuff his single target resistance quite a bit. So all single target attacks are going to start doing significantly more damage after this turn. Bam. Alright. So the SA did hit us hard, but with the healing and with the HP regen we have, it's no big deal. We've got nothing to worry about. So I'm going to continue with skill 3 with Haruhime, skill 3 with Yuri. Now, let's check our strength buffs. No, it looks like strength is gone. So we've got Earth, Critical, Penetration, Counter Raid, SA Gauge Charge, Magic, which is 40% up, Agility, and Dex, but we do not have Strength. Strength buff is gone. So we're going to have to buff Strength again. It's just a thing, guys. It's just a thing. So we're going to buff Strength on this turn, and then I'm basically going to stick with everything else on everybody else. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to buff Strength with Yuri, too, just to get a little bit more damage out of Yuri. Doesn't really matter here too much, though, to be honest. Every little tiny bit of extra damage will help, so I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time. Because her attacks are physical, so we're going to go ahead and just rebuff Strength on this turn. Bam. Bam. Plus, the nice part is Winnie's going to give us a little extra HP regen at the end of every turn anyway, so it's kind of nice. And as you'll notice here, it's not like lacking the Poison Anklet is hurting us at all. I'm fine. And all these units are fairly low rank, low-ish rank. So I'm absolutely fine. I'm not worried about anything. We're going to go back to do skill 3 with Yuri, SA with Aisha, and skill 2 with Winnie. So 3, SA, 2. Lego. Let's see what Aisha does this time. She should hit even better than she did last time. What you got, girl? And Boom. 1.7 mil. Nice. So long as we're able to keep that up, we are going to be in good shape. Now, I'm going to keep an eye on Aisha. You'll notice that I keep icons on. The little icon that has the S on it and the blue arrow pointing up is going to tell me she still has her strength buff. Now, because of that, and because we're about to get another SA right out of the gate, I'm going to go ahead and do Rock Biter on this turn. I could do Skill 3, get another big hit in, but then I'd have to rebuff again, and I just don't personally. You know what, actually, he's going to remove strength buffs. You know what, I'm going to do Rock Biter anyway. So I'm going to keep the same stack, but I'm going to do Rock Biter instead of SA with her. I could do Skill 3, but then on the next turn I will have to rebuff. Though I do believe... Let's see if her strength buff stays. Alright, so Aisha still has her strength buff. You can tell because in that top row, she's got the little S with the arrow pointing up. Now, this monster is going to do an SA in this turn, and it's going to remove the strength buff. So I did a good thing here. If I had used Skill 3, then I'd have to buff on this turn. At the end of this turn, then he's going to wipe out the buff anyway, and I'd have to rebuff all over again. So Skill 2 was a wiser maneuver. So we got 3, 3. I'm going to go ahead and do SA here, and 2. Go. And you'll notice basically we're just now spamming SAs like crazy. It's pretty wild. Bam. And once again, if I had another single target, that was really good. Aside from winning, we'd be doing great. But the one thing to remember here is you need a worm killer on your team like Aisha. Aisha is putting in work. And I think it's worth noting, if she was max limit broken, this would have been an S clear. 100%. This would have easily been an S clear. But it wasn't, so it's not. So I'm going to go ahead and you'll notice once again, if I look in here, there is no, no, her strength is actually still up. How is her strength still up? Well, then I'm going to go ahead and do Geosurge. Because I feel like her strength is going to be wiped out any minute now. Really feel like that's the case. I'm going to do Geosurge, and then I'm going to come back and do S1 on the next turn before the next SA. Because I do feel like it's gone soon-ish. And I don't know when he removes it, but it might be at the end of this turn. So let's go. Aisha, what you got, girl? Good hit. There we go. Now, she removed it herself that turn. But I feel like at the end of this SA, it would have been gone again. So, which it would have. It would have. We're not any worse for wear here. Bam. All right, turn 10. So if you want to know the S clear conditions, S clear is going to be a finish within 9 turns. We are right on the cusp of that. This dude's got, 1.3 mil. So the next SA is going to kill him. So if you want an S clear, just level up Aisha a little bit or run another single target instead of Winnie, and you'll be in great space. But skill 2, yeah, skill 2, skill 3, skill 1, skill 2. Here we go. And once again, Haruhime I could just put on anything now. Doesn't really matter because next turn this dude's dead. Bam. So we're 2 turns away from the S clear on this one. And that is a little frustrating, but it just means we have a tiny bit of work to do to get a little bit more damage out. So you could fart around with this team and make basically as much or as little damage as you want on top of this. But there you go, guys. An easy clear. If I had probably one more bond on Aisha or used another single target instead of Winnie, that most likely would have been an S clear. So there you go, guys. I'll be back tomorrow with another one of these. We're going to cover this each and every single day so you guys can come up with ways to defeat this, but I hope that strategy works out, or if it doesn't, you at least kind of get the grasp of what this specific one is looking for. So that's Grand War Boss 1-1. Now we're going to go into the stream here in a moment and do an S clear, but for now, that's the video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be back at you guys with more Danmachi each and every day.